Welcome to Midnight Movie Talk with your host, Eric Weber, live from Los Angeles. As we get into our top story today, wow, what a big breaking news story this was. James Gunn, along with a co-chair, taking over the DCU. No longer DCEU, DC Universe. Let's get to the story. First broken by The Hollywood Reporter. We always give credit to those people who break stories, and they did it today. Let's get into it. Here it is. David Zaslav turned to James Gunn and Peter Safran, who is a producer who worked in the Conjuring films, then got his way into Warner Brothers, produced Aquaman and various other films to get his way in here with now James Gunn, the co-chairs of the DC Universe. Finally, it's settled. Walter Hamada's out. He's gone. Now we have, I think, a really smart pick here in James Gunn. When you get James Gunn, you're talking about a guy who, when you go back and look at Guardians of the Galaxy, right, the original film that Marvel hired him for, if you give that film to another director other than James Gunn, you don't get the same film. That is a very singular directorial imprint on that film. And when I'm evaluating a film, I love that more than anything. That's my number one thing I'm looking for, is where does the director shine and what is the imprint that that director gives to that project. And Guardians of the Galaxy is without question a film that is textbook all about the vision of the director. So this tells me that that's exactly what Zaslav saw out of James Gunn, who, as we know, did another version of The Suicide Squad, much darker, R-rated, and I think that's where this needs to go. You know, when you look at the DCU now, you really want to see films that are pushing the envelope, because trying to match Marvel is not going to be a winning situation for the DCU. You want to be pushing things like we saw Todd Phillips and Joker, like we saw Gunn do with the Suicide Squad. We want to go almost to the edge of R. In fact, let's just go there. Look at the most recent film, Black Adam, a film that if it had leaned hard into its rating and actually gone to an R, which I heard rumors that they actually had a cut of it, it's going to be a better film because it allows you to do things with that property much more unrestrictively than if you have that PG-13 rating. So let's hope that that's what Gunn does here as he now takes over the DCU. So the question is, do you think that he's the right guy? And before we get into that in your comments, think about this. It was about 3 years ago that James Gunn was essentially canceled for his prior tweets. We don't need to get into what the tweets were. We're just going to say he was on the verge of being canceled. In fact, as you know, Marvel took him off of Guardians 3. They said, we don't even know what we're going to do here. Let's just have you sit on the sideline for a little bit because we are going to just put you on ice. And now, today, he's obviously back with Guardians. Now he is the co-chair of DCU. This is talk about a redemption story. This is a story in and of itself, right? Turn it into a script, a documentary at least. What do you think of James Gunn taking over along with Peter Safran? The DCU. Do you like the pick? And let's say one other thing before we get in the comments. The Zaslav haters out there, it's time for you to say, let's chill. Let's just tone it down for at least 24 hours. And admit that he made a good decision here. Because that's my take on this. This is a very smart decision. I think we can all agree that if you're going to pick somebody to run DCU, someone with that artistic vision that I'm looking for, it's James Gunn. So give Zaslav credit. Do not hammer him over and over. This is what we talk about all the time on MMT. If you're going to do that, then who are you, right? You're a hive minder. You can't even get off of a position. You're always like, this person's terrible. This person's good. No, there's shades of gray in everybody. And today, David Zaslav did the right thing because James Gunn is the right pick. Let's get into it. We have so many things to talk about. This is going to be a very busy MMT here tonight. By the way, before I get into the comments, huge Black Panther 2 stream coming up on Thursday. I'm going to see it Thursday night. Spoiler-free initial thoughts on Wakanda Forever coming up Thursday night right here live, MMT, little after 9. So just be ready for that Thursday night. Let's get into it right now. They were never going to find another Feige, but this seems like a good decision. I like it, AJ. I agree with you. And I think one of the things that is a very important news note here is this is a director taking over a studio. We've really never seen that, right? This is unprecedented. But I would argue when someone says that we look at a Kevin Feige who may not be directing the Marvel films, but he certainly is calling the shots. When you watch a Marvel film, you are seeing in the end product Kevin Feige's vision. He has final say. And now, with Gunn sitting here having that final decision, if he is Feige-esque here, then he's going to be able to shape these DCU films into what he believes is the right mix to make them the most successful they can be. And that's one thing Kevin Feige's been able to do over the years is absolutely kick ass doing that. He's a very smart man, and I think James Gunn's the same thing. Matthews, good evening to you. Rock wasn't kidding. The hierarchy of the DCEU did change big time. I mean, he was obviously in on this. He's a big part of where they're going to go in the future based on now Black Adam in the DCU. You now take that character and bring him into Justice League 2, I'm sure is down the road at some point. All the things you can do now. So he clearly had a say in this. And he's a very popular guy in Hollywood, not just The Rock, but James Gunn. So between the two, a winning combination going forward. Again, that's another really exciting thing when they did this move today. Really good move. Really love it. DC can go places Marvel can't. That's the advantage, and that's what they need to do. They need to strike and take advantage of that right there. The ability to do things that Disney's not really going to allow Marvel to do, and Feige's not going to do. Feige's not going to release an R-rated Marvel movie. Not that I can see. I mean, Deadpool doesn't really count. We're talking about, because of course that was the Fox merger acquisition. They're going to go ahead and keep that the same. Why wouldn't you? I just don't see them going down that road. Whereas Gunn, clearly with the Suicide Squad and even what he did with Guardians, pushes the limits. And because of that, you now can go places, like AJ says here, that Marvel can't go. That's your strength. Take advantage of that. Do more things like the Joker, or just Joker. I still forever will call that film The Joker. And then we also have, you look at The Batman, there's a the, and you have one of the best directors in Hollywood going right now, Matt Reeves, doing his thing there. So we have the right moves with those situations, and we have Joker 2 on the way. We need to do more of that. And now with someone in charge here, with Gunn, with Safran, they can have this long-term vision to place these things in order, everything, so it leads to, culminates in a Justice League 2. When you don't have that person who is in charge of overseeing the projects, they all fit nicely together to build up to that big crescendo, which will be Justice League 2 at some point in a few years from now. You now have that guy to do that. That's the other part of this very important deal that got done today. Aaliyah, interesting, though rumor is the MCU plans to do rated R TVMA projects. They should, and I hope that's the case. Right now we're not seeing it, but again, rumors. I just think it's the smartest move. You need to make things for families and then turn around and make things that are for the adults. As we saw with Joker, as we saw with Suicide Squad, even the Batman is not a family-friendly movie, right? It's not R, but it's certainly not a family matinee film for unless you want to raise your kids and turn them into versions of the Riddler. Lonely Lizard, I'll say this. James Gunn is just trying to make sure he doesn't make every DC movie lighthearted like Marvel Studios MCU, which we just talked about. Trying to become adult with Daredevil, Born Again on Disney+, Deadpool 3. It's really, listen, when you have DCU and you have Marvel, you have opportunities now for both studios to operate in so many different spaces, and this is a great pick. I mean, there's really no downside to this that I can see. In fact, I'm struggling to find anybody that even has one. Do you have anything? Of course you don't. Chris Gore coming in here tonight live. Live from the Saturn Awards. I almost went to the Saturn Awards tonight. Chris was so kind enough to invite me along, and I just wanted to chill. But the Saturn Awards are going on tonight. And by the way, thank you so much, Chris Gore, for the $199. I'm going to turn around and give you that right back and buy you a beer for that. You are the man. Thank you so much. Now that we're monetized, it's fantastic. Thank you, sir. I hope you're having fun tonight. I'm so excited to hear about the Saturn Awards. I know it's going on right now, and RRR is one of the films that has a chance to do well there. Ken, with James Gunn, you know Nathan Fillion will be an DCEU or DCU. Get it right, Ken. Mainstay in lots of Michael Rooker too. Yeah, right. Lots of that. So when you look at Gunn, you really, for me, go back to Super, right? 2010, the film that got him in on the radar for Marvel to go ahead and allow him to do Guardians of the Galaxy. This is a film. Remember Guardians of the Galaxy back in 2014? We all were like, it's an August movie. Marvel still wasn't as big as it is now. And we're like, it looks okay. It's James Gunn. Let him make this weird little movie. And then turns out to be one of the best Marvel movies, right? I mean, there's no question about it. One of the best Marvel movies is the original Guardians of the Galaxy. So if Gunn can just continue that vision that I think he shows even in the Suicide Squad, I don't think it's a perfect film by any means, but it's certainly better than the original, I would suggest. I don't think the original is as bad as you guys say, though. I will say the original Suicide Squad is not nearly as like unwatchable. It's not Wonder Woman 84, for God's sake, right? I mean, good Lord. Black Adam wouldn't make as much if it was R. Correct. Yes, that is absolutely true. When you slap the R on, you're going to restrict, obviously that's what R stands for, restricted, your audience, but you also open up your audience to people that maybe wouldn't go in the first place, like Deadpool. You had people that are like, the younger adults are like, oh man, it's R. Maybe it's cool. Let's go check it out. So you do restrict the families, but you open up a segment of the audience that maybe would never go to see Black Adam unless it were R. So there is that in play too. So it's kind of like, it's not all like or nothing in this situation. I think you take chances. I think Warner Brothers does a very good job of taking chances, and they have over the years. I mean, you look at that stretch of films they put together back in like 18, 19, into 20, a lot of these adult dramas that are not CBMs, but you look at things like The Goldfinch. They spent a ton of money on that film. I mean, it's not great, but they took chances. They gave directors big budgets. They said, make this adult-oriented, almost indie-type film with a big budget. We need studios to do that. So if we can get the DCU to make more cash, then maybe they will be open to making more films that are risky, that are edgy, that we maybe not have made by a Disney. And now that Fox is part of Disney, the old Fox, we need studios to make those films. We're going to move on to the next topic in just a moment. Let's go a few more, and then we're going to roll into topic number 2. Topic number 3, it's a busy night, and I'm so glad you guys joined me tonight on MMT. Thank you for being here. The Rock is a major part of the DCU's direction, and now with Cavill, it's looking promising in the DCU. Get rid of the E. Superhero movies, get rid of the E. It's gone. It's DCU now. We got to get used to this, okay? It's fine. I'll allow it for tonight. You led me right into topic number 2. Henry Cavill's back. And why is Henry Cavill back? Let's just be real. Let's break it down for the truth of the situation. Henry Cavill is back as Superman because he held out for more and more and more cash. And eventually, Warner Brothers said, fine, Henry, here's your money. Just come back. We need you. Because they're not going to reboot it. Henry's perfect for Superman. Right? I mean, he's the perfect guy. You do not want to bring another actor in. Here is his introduction here on Instagram. There he is from some resort that he's using the money from now Man of Steel 2 that he's going to have instantly wired into his bank account. He is back. And if you guys don't think that money is a big part of this, come on, man. I mean, you guys got to be kidding. You got to understand that actors want to get paid. I mean, look at sports. What do you think? Players want to get paid. Actors are the same way. Henry Cavill held out, said, I don't want to do it. I'm not interested. I want to do other things. I want to make these other movies. And then Warner Bros. Like, we kind of went, fine, here's your money. Come back. That's exactly what happened. Okay. Smart move by his management team, his agents to get Cavill back. And yes, it is a very big, it's huge. I mean, you cannot reboot that. You just can't do it. You don't want to do that because you have him in the fold. And why would you reboot it? It makes no sense. Henry's abs versus listen, to be honest, to be fair, and I think it's fair, I think I got him right now. I do. for those of you who don't, I'm not going to take off my shirt. It's not what we're going to do here on MMT. But there are some pictures on Twitter. I think I have him right now. But it's hard to say. I mean, I go look and someone do the comparison. I'm not going to do it. Solomon, it's really weird to see DCU doing well and Marvel is stale. Excited for the Ant-Man trailer, but the Guardians Christmas trailer was fun. I still didn't watch Ant-Man trailer. You guys know how I feel about trailers. I don't really want to watch them until it's time to, I'm in the movie and I have to watch it. But to go out of my way, I don't want to do that. It's not what we do. We don't do trailer reactions here. I've heard it looks good. I don't mind either of the Ant-Man films. So to hear that the next one looks solid is not really all that surprising to me. Also, the Guardians Christmas, smart idea. Bring the Guardians back before we have them back on the big screen. Makes sense. Listen, when you have as much product as Marvel and DC have at their disposal right now, the hardest thing is learning how to use it the wisest way possible and not to just burn through the stuff and to do too much like we saw Marvel doing in the middle of this year when you had Doctor Strange followed by Thor, then you had She-Hulk and all these things, and it was just too much. And now you've had just a little bit of a break, and I know some people don't think it was long enough, but I'm telling you, it was long enough. You're going to watch Wakanda Forever. Black Panther 2 is going to pop a number 185 or higher easy opening weekend. We are still roughly 3 weeks away, right? The 11th. So I'm going to see this on Thursday night, and then it comes out on the 11th. That's going to be weird because when you see a film that early, you want to talk about it, but you're really restricted about what you can say. So on Thursday night, we talk about Wakanda Forever, very outside of the area that we can really, drill down on because there is an embargo, but we'll at least know if it's really a good movie or if it's just okay or wherever it falls on the scale of decent to great to exceptional. We'll know on Thursday. Eric wins the abs competition, I think. He's slimmer. Henry's bulky. I am slimmer than Henry Cavill, but how about this? Is this fair? And I think it's fair. If you look at everybody who's involved in film Twitter, in film journalism, in movie, is there anybody else that hits the gym like me? No, there's not. We're not going to go down this road. I'm just saying that's the reality of it. There's nobody. Okay? I'm going to take out Henry Cavill. No, he's definitely bigger than me. AJ, if Wakanda Forever gets mixed reactions, I don't think it'll get 190. I don't think it's going to get mixed. I think there's a very little chance it gets mixed reactions. Because you have Ryan Coogler, you have a cast that kicks ass, and you've had time to shape this film, I think that there's no way it's not at least good. And I would argue that Doctor Strange is mid, but at least it's not terrible. When's the last Marvel film that was really terrible? There hasn't been one. Don't say Morbius. That doesn't count. Doesn't count. Marvel from Disney Marvel. There hasn't been a really horrible. Some of you are going to say Thor Love and Thunder. You're wrong. It's not terrible. Okay. So I think we're okay. It's okay. Don't worry about Black Panther 2. I'll know Thursday, but I would not worry about this film at all. I would murder someone to look like Henry Cavill. Bump me with the pens and HGH. Some actors probably do that. Okay. Because if you're going to be on the big screen and need to look like gigantic, then maybe you would do that. Watch out, Ricky coming in here saying Thor Love and Thunder was ass. I totally disagree. Why am I the only person that is a fan of Thor Love and Thunder? I had thought it was fun as hell. I don't know what is wrong with you guys. What is wrong with you? Jeffrey, welcome to the channel. James Gunn is not correct. Ever seen Brightburn? Brightburn's cool, man. I like Brightburn. It's dark as hell. James Gunn, the one they did is the Belko Experiment. That's not a great film, but he was the producer on that. He wrote part of it, right? Let's say that. Come on, guys. We can drill down and say, James Gunn. No, James Gunn's the right guy. James Gunn's the right guy. Okay, our last topic, and then we get into whatever you want to do. Here it is. What's the best horror film of 2022? I gave you 4 options today on Twitter. Let's go to it and see where we stand right now in the live voting. Which is the best horror film of 2022? Okay, right now, let's settle this. What's the best horror film of 2022? I gave you X, Smile, Barbarian, and The Black Phone. Now, some of you are saying, where is Pearl? Where is Halloween Ends? Oh, please do not ask that one. Okay, here's why Pearl's not on here. Because X is better than Pearl. Mia Goth in Pearl is better than Mia Goth in X, but X is a superior film. It is certainly more of a pure horror film than Pearl. So, of these four, which do you pick right now on MMT? Are you going X, Smile, Barbarian, or The Black Phone? Right now, Barbarian is number one at almost 33% of the vote. Everything's bunched in there, right? Nothing's below basically 21, 22%. So this is close. And I would argue these are the four best. If I were to stack these, I'm going to tell you right now, here's my stack of these films. I'm going to put it X1, Smile 2, Black Phone, and Barbarian I have rated just about the same. Okay? Just about the same. Probably a slight edge to the Black Phone. And you guys know what my issue with Barbarian is. My issue with Barbarian is very simply this. It is so derivative of Don't Breathe to the point where it's on the nose where I have a major problem with it. And I think that's one of my main issues with Barbarian overall is when people say it's original. It's original film. Oh my God, I've never seen anything like it. Well, you haven't seen anything bunched together that way, okay? And there certainly aren't the resets in a horror film like we see with Justin Long's introduced driving down the coast of Malibu or flashback to the 80s, right? Those things, the resets are awesome. But is it original? No, it's not original. Guys, come on, man. Don't Breathe. Have you guys seen Don't Breathe? It's so derivative of that. Set in Detroit, in the middle of nowhere, run down. The guy in the house is doing terrible things to people just like he was doing in Don't Breathe, the exact same crime. So that's why. Oh, man, you guys know how I feel about whenever someone comes in here and says, Barbarian's original, I'm like, what? And Smile's not original either. Okay, let's get that. Smile's not original. Smile is The Ring. Smile is It Follows. It's got Hereditary in there. It's got all these things that, of course, it is derivative of other things. But I never said Smile was original. Okay? So I said Smile is very good. And for my money, when you're talking about a horror film, the best of these from a pure horror standpoint is Smile. Because it does not have a sense of humor. It is serious in its tone. It is malevolent. It is everything I'm looking for when I'm watching a pure horror film. I don't want any jokey, humanoid handing someone a bottle and going, but baby, that's not scary. That's jokey. That's funny. Okay. So I think Barbarian, the best part of Barbarian is right before we get Justin Long, where she pops out of nowhere and it's like, and then all of a sudden we go to Malibu. That's the best part of the film. When we start talking about Barbarian and, humanoid jumping off of the water tower, how are we defending that? Guys, seriously, how are we defending that sequence as being good? I mean, there's no way. There is no way. All right, let's get into some comments here about the best horror film. This could go like an hour. Black Phone was, to me, I would agree, it's not scary. 33, as I call you. It is not scary, okay? No question about it. But it is well made. It's got a great aesthetic to it, and it's got the 70s vibe. Of course, I'm going to love that. A lot of people brought this up. Watcher. Why did I like Watcher a lot? And Micah Monroe is really good in this film. And Chloe Kazuna, what is the director's name? She's very good. So this Watcher is a sneaky kind of one of these films that I'll remember going forward. Like when I watch her next film, not Micah, but the director Chloe, whatever her last name is. When I watch her next film, I already know that I'm getting something really good because it looks fantastic. Watcher's I think it might be IFC's best horror film ever. Certainly the one that made the most money for them. Ricky Barbarian was so good. I think it's fine. I don't think it's a bad movie. A lot of you love, but man, all you coming in here with Barbarian. Good Lord. Ricky, thank you for at least getting this right. X is better than Pearl. Yes, X is definitely better than Pearl. Pearl is really all about Mia Goth's performance. I mean, there's some good things about Pearl, but X is a far better film. It certainly is a horror film. So at least we're on the same page there. I have not seen Mad God. Gavin, I've not seen it. I need to watch Mad God, but I saw a couple people come in here with this Mad God. I haven't gotten to it, but I've seen pretty much everything else. Black Phone, X, Barbarian, Smile, Pearl. So you have Black Phone first. Probably because you love that 70s, right? I mean, the 70s stuff is amazing in that film. It's really well done by Derrickson. Apparently I look like Tony. I get it all the time. I'm not trying. I'm not trying to look like Tony Stark. Brightburn was sauce. Hell yeah, it was. Everyone's here with Barbarian. All you like Barbarian's the best film. So right now you're not alone. Like I said, look at the results. 33%. I don't think it's going to come back. It's going to win this thing. I just don't have it as highly rated as you guys. You need to watch Don't Breathe. Lonely Lizard, just watch it, because once you watch it, you're going to say, well, that's a lot like Barbarian. But remember which one was first. Smile is pinging the top. Exactly. We talk about it all the time. When you ping the top of the meter, when you're watching a film and you see elements that are just bang, bang, just off the top, spectacular stuff, Smile's there. Okay, that's where the film wins, and I would agree on that. But for direction overall, it's X because of things like the landslide sequence. For me, it's X Smile. X and Smile are very similarly rated to me. I had them both at a 9.5 out of 10 for what they are. So that means they're really, it's like pick your choice the same. I mean, it doesn't really matter which one you go with for number one for me. And then beyond that, I say Barbarian and Black Phone are rated about the same, but they are a notch below both X and Smile. And I don't think we get anything else, right? I think that's it for our horror films this year. I don't believe we have anything else, because we're at Halloween here, in just a few days. I don't think we get any more horror films, nothing major. I think it'd be smart to bring another horror film in, like, in December when everyone's watching something else. Antlers is an interesting movie. Jeffrey, I'm not a huge fan of Antlers, even though I love the director of Antlers, right? When you look at Out of the Furnace and I see that kind of film that's grounded, I wanted Antlers to have there's something missing with Antlers that just didn't work for me. It's a very puzzling film for me because I wanted to go in and love it. But it's not a bad film. It just didn't quite. I expected it to be, a 9.5, 10. It ended up for me being like a 7.5, 8, which is quite a bit under where I wanted it to be. That said, Scott Cooper, like I said, the guy's a total badass, and I can't wait to see whatever he's doing next. I think The Thin Blue Line. What's it called? The Thin something. The Pale Blue Eye. My bad. The Pale Blue Eye. I think that's his film, and that's got Christian Bale. That's coming out. I think it's out this year. That's a Netflix movie. I don't know if they've delayed that or not, but I'm pretty sure that it's there. Did you laugh at Lady Thor's "Eat My Hammer" joke in Thor 4? Because I didn't. I liked it. Guys, leave me alone when it comes to that. It's not a bad film. I know you're a little disappointed people are picking Barbarian, Eric, but at least people would rather see that than Halloween Ends. Well, I mean, come on. Anything's better than Halloween Ends, isn't it? I mean, literally anything is better than Halloween Ends. Which has now been proven to be true by the fall, the 80% drop from weekend to weekend. Even if it's on Peacock, that's still worse than Halloween Kills, because it's somehow a worse film than Halloween Kills, which is almost impossible to do. But David Gordon Green somehow managed to make it happen. He made a worse film than the second Halloween. And now you have to remove him. You have to remove David Gordon Green from The Exorcist. He's got to go. After watching that film, he's got to go. I can't trust him. It's like I told you with the Russo brothers. I can't trust them ever again, at least not anytime soon. After watching Cherry and then The Gray Man, I can't trust the Russo brothers. I can't hire them to do anything. Not a single film. Go make an indie film and you guys finance it, and then we'll look at it and we'll decide if we want to release it. I'm certainly not going to sign a contract with you guys to direct a film for me. There's no way in hell. I just watched The Gray Man. There's no way we're going to have you do another film. And then throw cherry on top of it. The cherry on top. What a terrible 1-2 punch. I mean, that's one of the worst 1-2 punches ever by a directorial duo for sure. When you look at Cherry and then you follow it up with The Gray Man, you're talking about two borderline unwatchable films with the edits. The edits are terrible. Like, who's editing your films? I mean, I don't even know anything about editing. And I could edit a film better than The Gray Man. By the way, I need you guys to understand that if there's ever a Netflix movie that's coming out, don't expect me to see it until it's literally on the service. And even then, I don't know if I'll get it. They might restrict me from even subscribing. I have torched Netflix so repeatedly, so often, but it's because it's fair. Can I just for a moment take a time out and go on a Netflix rant again? Can you guys please indulge me? I don't even have this in the rundown. So welcome to, let's just pull it off. Can I get rid of everything? There it is. Just my name. You have a studio that had at one time unlimited funds to do whatever you want with a movie. Here you go, just go make what you want. That is the problem. Netflix gave blank checks to directors to make whatever film they want, and it turns out that a lot of them are not great because there was no oversight on said film. And no proof is needed more than Bardo, a film that just debuted at Venice, if I'm not mistaken. Certainly was at other film festivals, and the reaction was like, oh my God, this thing's self-indulgent, it's overlong, all these things. So we're going to go re-edit it. Why do you think that happened? Because there's no oversight on the director. So they made they let Inarritu make this movie that's too long, and I haven't seen it. And like I said, they're not going to show it to me anytime soon. They're not going to invite me to anything. It's okay. But it's fair. Here's the thing. We will lower the hammer. We will lower the boom on things. But it's fair. It's fair. Thank you. Congrats on being monetized. David, thank you so much. And I want to thank again Chris Gore for the $1.99 I have in my pocket now that I can go spend at happy hour to get myself a Miller Lite, because that's how I roll. I literally, here it is. Okay. Oh, here he's got more thing. He just gave me 9. Oh man, now I have to answer his question. So now we're going to get to the point where you have to pay to play. That's what MMT has turned into. Gore, this is a great question. I will absolutely do this for you because obviously you just paid me money. Here we go. Sunset Circle Awards. Front runners, without question, Cate Blanchett. When you look at any performance in the past 5-10 years, you're going to pick Cate Blanchett's performance in Tar over any of them in any year. It's going to match up favorably against any of them. Therefore, she has to be the front runner to win Best Actress. In fact, if we decided, and we're not doing this for Sunset Circle Awards, if we decided to say, let's group the women with the men, like Gotham does, and I think New York Film Circle, everyone thinks it's so trendy. Let's put everybody in one. Let's not have many. We're never doing that, okay? I just want to make that perfectly clear. That'll never happen with Sunset Circle Awards. I mean never, okay? 0% chance. Cate Blanchett would still beat all the guys from the past probably 5 years. I might have her head-to-head with Joaquin Phoenix. That would be close, but it'd be really hard. Like, I'd be Cate Blanchett or Joaquin Phoenix and Joker, because I love that performance by Joaquin, and I think obviously you guys did too. He won Oscar. It's a really great performance. So when you look at that, that we have to go back a few years, and then outside of that, I mean, Cate Blanchett beats all of them. So Cate Blanchett in Tar, no question. When you look at top films, we're going to look at a Tar. We're going to look at Top Gun Maverick. There's going to be films that other members are much higher on than I am, such as Everything Everywhere All at Once. Not high on that film. But if other members of Sunset Circle are high on it, then of course it's going to find a way in there. Banshees of Inisherin, a film that I'm not high on. Boom, it probably finds a way in because a lot of people are. But there are a number of options here for us to work with. And Chris, you're a big part of that. And not just because you paid me $10. Now I really am going to have to buy you multiple. This is 2 beers at happy hour. I'm just going to give the money back. I'm going to pay it forward with you. By the way, how are the Saturn Awards? He's at the Saturn Awards right now, which is going on right down the street in Burbank. I was invited. I didn't go. I didn't want to just hang out tonight. I didn't really want to go. I know you guys are like, what? You were invited to the Saturn Awards? You could have hung out with all the stars. No, we've done it. We've talked about it on NMT before. Once you've done it, it's kind of like, it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. Jeff says hi, Chris. He says hi. I have a question for everyone. Okay, what do you got, Jeff? For Man of Steel 2, I'm calling Superman Man of Tomorrow. Anyway, could you use the John Williams theme or Hans Zimmer? I'm going John Williams. No, listen, all I know is that how bad was I got to always go back to Wonder Woman 84. What the hell was that in the middle when she jumps in the invisible jet in 84 and it's like we're bringing in music from other movies? I mean, what the hell? That movie's so terrible. Can we just make sure that we're fully aware that Wonder Woman 84, where is Wonder Woman 84? It's on the wall. Hold on, let me get rid of this. Remember, she's right there. Do you see her? There's the tiara, and that's Wonder Woman 84. So it's always going to have a place on the MMT walls. You just can barely see just a little bit of the tiara right there. Will the Oscars ever combine actors and actresses? I hope they don't. But even if the Oscars do that, Sunset Circle will never do it. Ever in the history, the remaining history of the world, because I just, not going to do it. I don't need to explain why. The people that want to do it can do it. I just am not going to do that. Okay. I'm old school, man. Generation X. We just we do things the way we do them. We don't need to be told how to do things. That's for damn sure. That's for damn sure. Don't try to tell us what to do. Right, Ken Murray? David, Blanchett and Tar, greater than anything since Streep and Iron. Now, David, I don't know if you were here when I talked about this. When I came out of Tar, I went back over the past decade plus and looked at year by year by year to say who could actually challenge Cate Blanchett in Tar. And guess who was the only person I said could? Right there. Meryl Streep in The Iron Lady. That performance as Margaret Thatcher is right neck and neck with Cate Blanchett in Tar. I had to roll back a decade to get to that. So you don't think that Cate Blanchett in Tar is going to win Oscar? She, of course, is going to win if we're doing it by merit. And you guys know how I feel about that. If we have a situation where we're going to say, oh, we're going to give someone a trophy because of something other than merit, I have a major problem with that. I don't go with that thinking at all. I am a sports-based mind, which means the best player plays, which means the worst player sits the bench. And in this case, when it comes to awards, I'm going to pick who gave the best performance in my subjective opinion. But even subjectively, Cate Blanchett in Tar destroys all the other competition. I don't care who you put up against her. Michelle and Everything Everywhere. No, goodbye. That's not even a contest. Move on to Deadweiler from Till. Very good performance, but no, it is Cate Blanchett. I don't care who you pick from this year and you put her up against Cate Blanchett's going to just wipe the floor with whoever that is. It's just, and I remember we had that discussion a few weeks ago. There was somebody who was like, well, she already has 2 Oscars, so maybe it's time for someone else to win. And I'm like, you guys know the voice. I mean, that voice should tell you everything I think about that whole sentiment. What are we doing, dude? Why are you like being that big of a wuss? I think someone else should win because this other person already won. So let's spread the love around. Like, no question, dude. You were clearly one of these kids that were raised, handed a trophy after losing 21-0 in football, or hell, baseball 21-0. You were still handed a trophy, and you went home and said, "Look, Mom and Dad, I still won." Our generation wasn't like that. Generation X, if we lost, they kept the score. They didn't stop the game. If we were playing Little League Baseball and we got mauled and it was 15-0 and I got hit by a pitch, which happened like by a kid that was like way too big for the age group. He was like, held back and somehow he's still on the team, throwing like a 75-mile-an-hour fastball, drove me right in the ribs. We lost and I almost broke a rib. And no one gave us a goddamn trophy at the end of it. Stop being a wuss. That was like one of the best moments ever on Midnight Movie Talk. That's what we need to lean into that. Because I hate these little wuss people on Twitter. They're like, oh, I don't know if Cate Blanchett should win another trophy. It's not fair to the other people. Let me go cry into my blanket. Ugh. It's so gross, isn't it? It's like, then you see like Henry Cavill and you're like, look at that badass. I want to be like that. Like, why? Come on. God, film Twitter. Film Twitter. Hi, Eric and everyone. Jennifer, good evening. From now on, I'm going to charge you for that comment. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, Jennifer. I'm kidding. Now that Gore's paying, you all need to pay. That's just how it's going to go. Gen X in the house. Let's go. Sitting alone, not trying to get attention. Well, that might not be true about me, but everyone else. No, we just are like, we are what we are. We don't try to be something we're not. Which I think if you watch this show, you're very aware that we do not try to be something that we're not. We are who we are. It's live, and there's good and bad about that. But we don't redo things, and things are good or they're bad, and we move on. Generation X is like that. We just kind of like, man up. Man up. What is it about? Oh, that's too testosterone filled. Eric, settle down. Too much of that. Anyhow. what about Kate Blanchett's performance is so good? Is it the sheer power in speech and bodily movement, strength of performance, sorrow of emotion? Here's what it is. It is the full range of everything, and it's also the fact that she has to do so many difficult scenes with such dialogue that is very well written by Todd Field. So she has to memorize and make organic this dialogue that is not easy. This is a very difficult film to perform. If you look at the screenplay and then were to watch and read through the screenplay as she's delivering it and turning what's on the page alive, Kate Blanchett kills it. And there's scenes in this film, such as the one at the college where she is getting into it with one of the students who is like our friend who says, someone already has 2 Oscars, so they can't have another one. That kind of person that's a big wimp and they want to just, complain about stuff. And she's like, man up. Why don't you do, and that whole scene is one take, right? That whole scene in Tar is an unbroken oneer. And when you watch that, you're like, oh my God, not only did she have to deliver, but everyone in the scene had to hit their notes perfectly. There's no edit in that. And it's a good 5-minute scene. I didn't time it. I'm going to go watch it again the next time. That scene alone wins her the Oscar. But it's more than that. The whole film. It is really one of the best performances you're going to see in a decade. Since we go back to Margaret Thatcher and Meryl Streep. You got to go all the way back to that. Is Tar good enough? Yes, it is, David. Tar is absolutely a good enough film to win. I think it's good enough to be in Best Picture without question. When you look at the awards films that we have in front of us right now, I'm seeing The Fabelmans next week, so I'll have some idea where we are on that. But when you look at all the awards films, quote unquote, that we have at our disposal, Tar is at the top of the list for me of everything that I've seen. It's better than Armageddon Time. It's better than Banshees of Inisherin. It's better than, I still have to see again, Fabelmans. I need to see The Whale. If I put Tar up against Top Gun Maverick, they're both great in completely different things. They're not obviously comparable when it comes to the just film. They're just completely different. Top Gun Maverick has its thing. Tar has certainly Todd Field and Blanchett doing their thing. So for me, if I were to pick which film do I love the most this year, it's Maverick versus Tar at this moment. I still have a few to see. I mean, we're going to see Wakanda Forever on Thursday. What if all of a sudden I come out of Wakanda Forever and I'm like, holy hell, this movie deserves to be up at that level of considered to be Best Picture, not just a nomination, because we saw the last one got that. We're talking about to win. I don't know. I'll know on Thursday. Live stream on Thursday night. Probably about 9:15, 9:30. Maybe even later. Because it starts, I believe the screening is at 7, which means it's over 2 hours. I think it's almost 3. So we might be on at 10 p. Movie Talk or 1A Movie Talk. Just subscribe, get the notifications Thursday. Huge Wakanda Forever stream. Olivia Colman, Empire Light, will get nominated, won't win. She has done the same thing. She's very much in the same vein as she was in The Lost Daughter. I think Olivia Colman's fantastic. But again, for me, I've seen that too many times. Kate Blanchett is different than what we saw in Nightmare Alley, different than what we've seen even in, you go back to, what's the one she won, the Woody Allen film? Blue Jasmine. She's so good in that. Different performance. Olivia Colman is doing a version of The Father, doing a version of Lost Daughter, and then Empire Light. Granted, it's a little different, but in Olivia Colman, I feel like we've done this, so I feel like she can almost actually be left out in a weird way, right, Ken? I really do. I think if we're going to talk about and use our friend from Twitter who's like, I don't think that's that guy. If we're going to do that, then let's leave Olivia Colman out. You don't leave the winner out. Like, you can't do that. But if you're head-to-head with someone like Olivia Colman versus Danielle Deadwyler, then I'm going to take Danielle because I think that Empire Light's okay and she's good, but we've seen it before. So there's where I'm going to bring in Danielle Deadwyler, right? I'm going to trump her without question over Olivia Colman. But I'm not going to take anybody over Kate Blanchett. That doesn't make any sense to me. You can't leave the winner out. You go back and you look at the Oscars from the last several years. Won't You Be My Neighbor, the Mr. Rogers documentary. Not only did it not win documentary, which is absurd, it didn't get nominated. You can't leave the winner out completely. So, listen, if Blanchett doesn't win, it's a crime. But if she doesn't get nominated, first, there's no chance. But I'm just saying, let's just imagine a world where this guy on Twitter who's like, she already has her Oscars. I can't do it again, my voice. Then we're living in a bizarro world. I don't want to live in that world. I want to live in a world where merit wins. Always, right? The best at what you do is the one that we go with. Again, sports. Imagine being a quarterback for a team and being the best quarterback, and we all know that you're going to play if you're the best QB. But instead, the coach is like, listen, we like you, but it's time to give this other guy a shot. We know he's not that good, or he's good, but he's not as good as you, but we're just going to put him in because we just feel, no, sports would implode if we did that. If you didn't put the best players on the floor or on the field or on the pitch, what are we doing? So why can't that apply everywhere? Everywhere. The best person deserves the job, deserves the nomination, deserves the role. It's that simple. We don't play games of this person is in this category, therefore we're going to pick that person, because no, I don't want to do that. I'm never going to do that. I'm always going to work from a place of merit, and that's what makes me very good at film evaluation. I don't have any bias when it comes to who made the film, what studio it's from. It's all about the final product. When I'm watching it on the screen, it's not about any of the off-the-field stuff, who made it, what their sexual orientation is, any of that. It doesn't matter. Someone come in the comments right now and tell me how it matters that a director of a film is insert anything, is any kind of, qualification about a director. How does that impact the film? It doesn't. It shouldn't. You're watching a film. All that matters is the end product. It doesn't matter who the director was, the sex of the director, any of it. The film is good or it's not. Don't be like the person who thinks like that. Such a it's just whack. It's so wrong to think like that, to give someone an advantage because of something. And I don't care what it is, an advantage for anybody of anything. Merit. I know I'm right. Guys, there's no other way to look at it. I don't care. Don't tell me any other way. There's no other way to look at it. It's merit. Merit is number one, period. End of discussion. Man, I get so... I should just do a whole stream about that. But I mean, what else is there to say? There's no argument. Art is subjective. It all comes down to opinion. At least sports have scores and stats to back it up. Well, we do have box office, Ken. We have box office. So if you have good box office, then maybe... But yes, you're right. It is subjective, but it isn't. It shouldn't matter, but Hollywood has an agenda. Jeffrey, if that's the case, I just don't want to... Again, I just don't want to be part of an agenda. I don't want to have an agenda, and I don't. You can... Whatever you want to say... There's one thing I am is unvarnished, and I do not have an agenda. If a film is bad, it's bad. I didn't dislike, and I don't hate Everything Everywhere All at Once. Let's make that straight. 100% clear. I do not think it's a great film because of that back 30 minutes. In fact, I tweeted about it today because everyone was like, oh, you just said that if it wins Best Picture, and people were saying I'm racist. I'm like, wait, what? What? For saying a film? But wait a second. I didn't like Everything Everywhere All at Once, but let's go to a film that is from a minority director and pick something like, oh, I don't know, let's just randomly from the back of my head pull in Fruitvale Station, a film that I loved. So wait, see, that's the problem with when you start throwing stuff out like that. It's like you instantly can break it and smash it to bits by saying, wait, but he liked that film, Saint Maud, that was directed by a woman. Because that's what always happens when you hammer a film directed by a woman. Oh, you hate all films directed by women. Wait, what? I just said Saint Maud's the best film of 2020. The very best film of the year for me was Saint Maud, directed by a woman, about women. I don't think there's a male character in the movie. If he is, he's in a bar. That's it. Oh, you don't like women. Oh, that's clearly... Those people are so lame. Those people are so fucking lame. Don't be like that. Like, just throw, like, bombs. Oh, you must be racist. Oh, you don't like women directors. God. And then you just search. Oh, wait, but he liked that movie that's directed by a woman. God. You guys are lame. Not you. You guys aren't lame. Those people are so lame. Can you imagine living like that? Like, literally taking offense to everything. Oh, I'm hurt by what you said. You said Everything Everywhere wasn't good, and if it wins Best Picture, then we should disband the Academy. Those words are violence. It's like, you guys are so like sad. You're so sad. It's an opinion. Don't be like that. God, I know I'm correct. I know I'm correct. I'm 100% correct. Of course oh my God, of course superhero movies. You kidding me? I mean, first of all, one thing that we get, and I totally understand, is the one thing a director brings to the table, which is where we go back to James Gunn here, is it's very individualistic about what they like. So the director and their artistic inclinations are essential to any film. So yes, it does matter who the director is, but my point is that you don't grade a movie higher or lower because it's directed by a man or a woman or a cat. The film is the film. There's no other way to see it. I read a review one time that was like, this is a good movie because it's directed by this, a certain, qualification. I'm like, what? Why? Why is it better? Because it doesn't even make sense to say that. What are you saying? In fact, when you say that, you instantly nullify everything that you've ever said. It just makes me go, I can't trust you. I can't trust you to do any of this shit. It's so frustrating when people bring their own personal agendas to film, attention seekers. This is another topic. You guys, I mean, I feel like this whole show really has turned into this. We started with James Gunn, and now we're talking about what really is everything. And you guys know, even someone who doesn't agree with me knows I'm right ultimately. You should never have a personal agenda when you walk into a film. Look at a film like Hillbilly Elegy, which is, I'm not going to say it's a great film. But is it a bad film? No. But once we start going, well, the subject of it is a conservative and is, who cares? The movie's good or it's not. I mean, why? I could watch a movie about Hitler and say, hey, the movie's good. I don't agree with Hitler or any of the stances that he had. But if the movie is well made and delivers a smart film, then I'm probably going to say it's good. So why you have your political leanings into film? You should be as apolitical as possible when you're reviewing a film. I mean, completely apolitical, because you're evaluating the film and discussion. Nothing else to add. I mean, come on, man. I'm right. You guys know it. I watched a movie last night. It's the worst film of the year. It's 98% Rotten Tomatoes. Well, if I don't know what it is, can direct message me on Twitter right now, and I'll look at it. I want to know right now, because I can't do it right here. I want you to direct message me what film it was, and then this will be good because I can actually, when I see it, I might know. It's got an embargo. It's 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. There's an embargo. What is it? Okay, I'm waiting. Ken's going to direct. But this is what we're talking about. Don't grade a movie higher or lower based on any of the agendas that are in the film, any of the people and what you just don't do it. Just go in and be fair about everything. Judge everything as objectively as possible. Oh, okay. I see it. That was fun. I see it in front. It's funny that you say the film that he's talking about. I just talked to someone the other day at a screening. I saw Causeway, which is a solid film. I think Brian Tyree Henry's really good, and I love Brian Tyree Henry. I mean, he's like one of my favorite actors going. He's so just dependable and present, and everything about Brian Tyree Henry is just, I love the guy. But when I was there, the movie that Ken just texted me is someone was sitting in front of me that I sort of know, and they said, don't go see this. It's so overrated. And I go, I hadn't seen it. But why is this? I don't even know why it's being graded higher or lower. I don't understand. I don't know. But that's the hard part when you come out of a movie like Everything Everywhere All at Once, when everyone's raving about it, and you have to say, no, it's not that good. Okay, why are we grading on a curve? It's good at 145. It's not good at 225. And then when you say it's not good and that the repetition of ideas absolutely destroy any relationship you had with the film, then you instantly get turned to, oh, well, then you must be racist. Like, oh, yeah, that's exactly why. That's exactly why I didn't like the back end of Everything Everywhere All at Once, is because it's like arguing with the people like that. It's just there's no time. I don't have enough time in my life to even give oxygen to that kind of thinking because that's not who I am. And I don't need to tell anyone that. I know I'm not. So I'm not going to sit here and defend myself against that. God. Okay. 5-minute warning. And then I can't, I could go off the rails for like an hour on this, but I feel like it's important. Let me ask you, you say you likely have a good movie in Strange World, but it's a film it's impossible to market to get people to see them in theaters. How do you change that? You cut the best trailer you can. You cut a trailer that maybe doesn't even sell the movie the way that it really should be sold, but you have to make it palatable for audiences to go check out because you got to sell tickets. And Disney wants to have this thing in the animated race. I think right now, if you looked at it on paper, not seen Pinocchio yet, Pinocchio is going to end up being a winner, and it's going to be Netflix's first animated Oscar. I think when you look at Del Toro, how are you going to beat that film? Because there's nothing else that's that good this year. It certainly isn't Turning Red. It's not Lightyear, right? So Pixar had a very down year, in my opinion. Like Lightyear's better than Turning Red. Turning Red's not a good film. Oh, but wait, Eric, oh, you're racist. Hold on, I'm going to bang my head into the mic. Bang, boom. Yes, that's why I didn't like the movie. Yeah, I know. Thank you. This is exactly right. Why are you? I don't engage anymore. I'm not going to engage with those people because it's bad faith. The arguments in bad faith. There's nothing to defend that I have to defend. I know who I am. People who know me know who I am. So I'm not going to get into it about if you didn't like a film, it must mean that you're X. It's such an incredibly small-minded way to approach things, and it makes me kind of sad for the person because it's like that's the best you can do. If you're going to say something, come in and say, "Hey, I disagree with it because I think that the back end really cements what the Daniels were doing for the first 145." I think you're going to be wrong, but at least you didn't come in and go, "Oh, well, you're racist." It's like, what is that? That's not even like smart. Exactly. Cancel me because I'm racist. Just start throwing things out there. Just throw it out there because it's true. Hey, there's a bomb. Have fun with that. Whatever. Yeah. Nah. It's going to ruin my weekend if you hate Wakanda Forever. Thursday night, we are going to have Wakanda Forever live here. Now, we're not going to show it. That'd be really weird. We are going to talk about it. First reactions out of the theater, discussing Wakanda Forever on Thursday night here on MMT Live. I'm going to be under constraints because there's an embargo. So what I'll generally say about the film is how high I am on it, and do I think it's going to play at the Oscars in what categories? I'm not reviewing it, right? I'm not doing that. We will go through categories on Awards Ace, which is, of course, my site, and we will say, does it fit here? Does it fit here? And that way we're not reviewing it, but you'll know what I think of the film by what I say it'll work in, what categories, and then, of course, just a general overall feel for the film. So that's on Thursday night, Wakanda Forever stream live here on MMT. That's going to do it tonight. I love all of you guys for the comments tonight. Thank you so much for being here. Back Thursday night, later than normal, 9:30, 9:45, maybe even 10 o'clock here on MMT Live. Good night from Los Angeles.